In Kenya, you see it everywhere. It's a social ritual, a daily habit for so many people. But have you ever stopped to think about the real price tag of chewing Miraa or Khat? It's a cost that goes way beyond just the person chewing it. It digs deep into the country's economy and its social fabric. So let's dive in and really try to understand the true cost.
So how do we even begin to answer that question? Well, we got to look at the numbers. We need to see what happens when a long-standing cultural practice starts to clash with economic reality. Let's find out.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, let's just start with one single number. According to Kenya's top authority on this stuff, Catha, this is how many people are currently using Khat in the country. Almost 1 million people. So yeah, this is not some small niche issue. This is a massive nationwide phenomenon.
Okay, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into what the Khat Conundrum actually is. Then we'll look at the real price of chewing for the whole country. From there, we'll zoom right into Wajir County for a pretty powerful case study, and then see the new law they're using to fight back. And finally, we'll ask, what's next for Kenya?
All right, so first things first. What is Khat exactly? To really get this whole issue, you have to understand the plant that's sitting right at the center of this storm.
So Khat, which you might hear called Miraa or its stronger cousin Muguka, is a plant. It's pretty simple. People chew the leaves to get a stimulant effect, kind of like a strong coffee buzz. And that buzz comes from two main chemicals, caffeine and cathinone. Now, that feel-good effect is what makes it so popular, but it's also the very thing that kicks off a whole cascade of serious problems.
But, how does one person's habit become a problem for the entire nation? Well, it's like a domino effect. The impact of chewing Khat just ripples out, touching families, workplaces, and entire communities.
And when you look at the data, you see this huge divide. Get this, 1 out of every 14 Kenyan men between 15 and 65 is a current user. Now, what about women? That number plummets to just 1 in 143. So this isn't just a social habit, it's a habit that is overwhelmingly affecting the nation's men.
And now look at the age groups here. The habit really peaks between 18 and 35. That is no coincidence. We're talking about Kenya's core workforce. The most economically active people in the country are also the ones most likely to be using Khat, which creates a direct drain on national productivity.
And this is how all those individual stats start to add up to a full-blown national crisis. Money that should be going to food or school fees is instead spent on Khat. Productivity at work takes a nosedive, it's also been linked to crime, and it's often used with other drugs, which just creates this vicious cycle that makes poverty and inequality even worse.
This quote right here really brings the financial hit home. This is not a small expense we're talking about. For some families, more than 1/3 of their money after taxes goes directly to this habit. I mean, just imagine trying to feed your kids, pay for school, or save anything for the future when 1/3 of your cash is just gone.
To see all these effects in really sharp focus, we need to go from the big national picture down to a specific hotspot. So let's take a look at Wajir County, a region where this problem has absolutely reached crisis levels.
And this chart tells you exactly why we're focusing on Wajir. The northeastern region has the second highest rate of Khat use in the entire country. At 7.2%, that's not just some abstract number. It's a daily reality that is shaping the local economy and the social fabric there.
And it's not like this is some hidden problem. In the northeastern region, awareness of Khat is a staggering 86%, is totally normalized. And when something is that common, it puts this immense burden on the community. And that is exactly why local leaders decided they had to do something.
And that brings us to a real turning point in the story. Faced with this crisis, Wajir County didn't just sit back and watch. They decided to legislate a solution.
So they introduced this, the Wajir County Miraa and Other Substances Control Act of 2025. It's a huge piece of local legislation, and it's designed to do 3 really critical things: regulate the trade, protect young people, and offer a real path to recovery for anyone who's affected.
So, how's it going to work? Well, it's a pretty clear 4-step plan. First, they're going to control where Miraa is sold by setting up specific trading zones, keeping it away from places like schools. Second, they're going to control who sells it by making every single trader get a license. Third, and this is so important, they're making it flat out illegal to sell to kids. And finally, they're actually going to offer help by setting up county-funded rehab centers for people struggling with addiction.
Now, Wajir's law is a really powerful local response, right? But it brings up a much bigger question for the entire country, especially when you start talking about the different types of khat out there.
And here's the key scientific difference, coming straight from national researchers. While Miraa and Muguka are technically from the same plant, Muguka has way higher levels of those active chemicals. The science is pretty clear on this. Muguka causes far greater harm.
Because of that scientific difference, you end up with this tale of two policies for the whole country. For the traditional Miraa, the recommendation is strict regulation, manage it. But for the much more potent Muguka, experts are actually calling for a total ban because the health risks are higher and its popularity with young people is really alarming.
But look, a ban or some new regulations, that's only part of the solution. A real solution means creating new jobs for the farmers, launching huge awareness campaigns, and even figuring out how to deal with online sales. You really need everyone, the whole society, to get involved.
So Wajir County has drawn its line in the sand, and national experts are pointing towards a path forward. But really, it all boils down to one final, really challenging question that Kenya now has to face. Can a law, no matter how smart it is, truly solve a cultural habit that's this deeply ingrained?